Pew Mathematics, Paper 1, Advanced Subsidiary, Wednesday, 15 May 2019. Answer all questions and ensure that your answers to parts of questions are clearly labeled. You should show sufficient working to make your methods clear. Answers without working may not gain full credit. Question number 1. The line L1 has equation 2x plus 4y minus 3 equals to 0. The line L2 has equation y equals to mx plus 7, where m is a constant. Given that L1 and L2 are perpendicular, find the value of m. The lines L1 and L2 meet at the point P. Find the x-coordinate of P. So the first thing you want to do, you want to write the equation of the line L1 as y equals to mx plus c. And m would be the gradient. So you rearrange this to make y the subject. So you take 2x to the right, it becomes minus 2x. You take minus 3 to the right, it becomes plus 3. It's 4 times y. You divide by 4. Minus 2 divided by 4 and 3 divided by 4. So you have y equals to minus 2 over 4x plus 3 over 4. So minus 2 over 4 is the gradient of L1. And this statement, if two lines are perpendicular, the product of their gradient is minus 1. Or you can say the gradient of line 2 is equals to minus 1 divided by the gradient of line 1. So minus 1 divided by the gradient of line 1 is minus 2 over 4. And that will be minus 1 divided by minus 2 over 4. That gives you 2. So the gradient of line 2 is 2. And you can write the equation of line 2 as y equals to 2x plus 7. The lines L1 and L2 meet at the point P. Find the x coordinates of P. So we've got line L1 and line L2. So when the two lines meet, that means L1 is equals to L2. So L1 is equals to L2. And we need to solve that equation for x. We put all the x to the left. So 2x goes to the left. It becomes minus 2x. Plus 3 over 4 goes to the right. It becomes minus 3 over 4. So 2x over 4, minus 2x over 4 minus 2x, it gives you minus 5 over 2x. 7 minus 3 over 4, it gives you 25 over 4. Now it's times minus 5 over 2 times x. So you divide by minus 5 over 2. So x becomes minus 2.5. So that's your complete solution for question number 1. M is equals to 2 and x is equals to minus 2.5. Question number 2. Find using algebra the real solutions to the equation 16a squared equals to 2 root a, and part b, b to the 4 plus 7b squared minus 18 equals to 0. So what do you want to do first is you divide by 2. 16 divided by 2 is 8, and 2 divided by 2 will be 1. Now, after that, we divide by a to the power half. So 8a squared divided by a to the power half and equals to a to the half divided by a to the half. A to the half would cancel. That will give you 1. 8a squared divided by a to the half. A squared divided by a to the half is the same as a squared minus a half. A to the power 2 minus a half. That gives you a to the power 3 over 2. And then you divide by 8. So you divide by 8, it becomes 1 over 8 on the right-hand side. Because 8 divided by 8 on the left would be 1, and then 1 divided by 8 on the right. Now, a to the power 3 over 2 is equals to 1 over 8. So the inverse of 3 over 2 is 2 over 3. So you want to find 1 over 8 to the power 2 over 3. And that gives you 1 over 4 as one of the answers. And you can deduce that a equals to 0 is also a solution, because if you have 0 squared times 16 will be 0, and square root of 0 is 0. So 0 is equals to 0. So you can deduce that 0 is one of the solutions, or you can do algebra to show it. And to show that a equals to 0 is one of the solutions, we can solve the question this way. We can have 16a squared minus 2a to the half is equals to 0. We can divide by 2. So it becomes 8a squared, divide by 2, divide by 2. It becomes 8a squared minus a to the half equals to 0. Factorize a to the half out of the bracket. So it becomes a to the half, 8a to the 3 over 2, because 3 over 2 plus a half will give you squared, a squared. So 8a to the 3 over 2 minus 1 equals to 0. So either a to the half is equals to 0, or 8a to the power 3 over 2 minus 1 equals to 0. A to the half equals to 0, and so a equals to square root of 0, and a is equals to 0. So that's the one which you can deduce, or you can use that algebra. And on the right hand side, you want to solve that. You take 1 to the right. So a to the power 3 over 2 is equals to 1 over 8, because you divide by 8. And a would be 1 over 8 to the power 2 over 3, which will give you 1 over 4. So that's the complete solution for question 2. A is equals to 1 over 4, and a is equals to 0. The second part of question 2, you can let x to be equals to b squared. So that will give us b to the 4 becomes x squared plus 7x minus 18 equal to 0. When you factorize, it becomes x plus 9, x minus 2 equal to 0. That means x equals to minus 9, or x equals to 2. B squared equals to minus 9 because you replace x with b squared. So x is now b squared minus 9 equals to 0, and b is equal to square root of 9. And the square root of 9 of minus 9 is 3i, complex number. So we ignore this solution. If you see there in the calculator, I've put it in the complex mode, so that when you have square root of minus 9, it gives you 3i. But we're going to ignore this answer. We look at the other side. X equals to 2, b squared equals to 2, because we replace x with b squared. So b is equals to square root of 2. So b is equals to plus root 2, or b is equals to minus square root of 2. So those are the two answers for that equation. Question number 3. Given that k is a constant, find integral of 4 over x cubed plus kx. Hence, find the value of k such that integral from 0 to 2 of that function equals to 8. We're going to use this formula here for integration. So when you integrate dy over dx of x to the power n, add 1 to the power and divide by that new power. Remember, add 1 to the power, divide by the new power, and don't forget to add the constant of integration. That's what we're going to use to integrate. So for question 3a, we take the x cubed to the top, to the numerator, it becomes x to the minus 3. So to integrate that, we add 1, minus 3 plus 1, it gives you minus 2. And we divide by that minus 3 plus 1, which is the minus 2. So it's 4x to the minus 2 divided by minus 2. Kx to the power 1, we add 1 to the power 1 plus 1 divided by 1 plus 1. Add 1 to the power, divide by the power, the new power. It becomes kx squared over 2. 4 divided by minus 2 gives you minus 2. So it's minus 2x to the minus 2 plus kx squared over 2 plus, don't forget the constant of integration c. So that's your answer for when you integrate it. Question 3b, hence find the value of k. Hence means you use your answer from part A, the answer you had before. That would make it easier. So when we integrated it, we had 2x to the minus 2. So we can write it as minus 2 over x squared plus 1 over 2kx squared. That's what we had from before. So we substitute in 2. 2 goes for x and 2 goes for x. And after that, we substitute 0.5. 0.5 goes for x and 0.5 goes for x, and we subtract them. So when we put 2 first, it becomes minus 2 over 2 squared minus half k times 4 minus, and then in bracket, minus 2 over 0.5 squared plus half k times 0.5 squared. And that should all be equals to 8. So we simplify the first bracket. We'll get minus a half plus 2k. Minus and minus there becomes a plus. And that will be 8 minus, this would become 0.125k equals to 8. 8 on the left side minus 8 on the right side. So 1.875k is equals to half, because 2k minus 0.125k, you get 1.875k equals to half. So k is half divided by 1.875. So that gives you k to be 4 over 5. Question number 4. A tree was planted in the ground. Its height, h meters, was measured t years after planting. And using the linear model, find an equation linking h and t. So we have x axis, y axis, but this time we're calling it t and h. So the t represents the x axis, the h represents your y axis. So at 0, 0, that's time 0, it starts, the height is 0. When the time is 3 years, the height is 2.35 meters. When it's 6 years, it's 3.28 meters. So if you were to plot that on a graph, you can find the gradient, the change in y over change in x, using that formula. And we're using y equals to mx plus c. So we can write the first equation, y equals to ax plus b, y equals to 0.31x plus 1.42. So h is, or you can write it as h is equals to 0.31t plus 1.42. And you may wonder where we got this 0.31 and 1.42 from. If you enter this number in your calculator using statistics mode, so you enter the 3 and you enter the 6, enter the 2.35 and the 3.28, and you use the linear regression, it would give you the gradient of 0.31 and the intercept of 1.42. That's where that comes from. So the 0.31 comes from there, and the 1.42, the intercept on the y-axis, comes from there. So that's how you get that without even working out the calculation using the algebraic method. Or you can work out the gradient, or find c, and you will still get the same thing. Question 4b. When we use the same, the h is 0.31t plus 1.42. When t is equal to 0, we got h to be 1, and h is 140 centimeters. So 140 meters is approximately 140 centimeters is similar to 142 centimeters, approximately 142 centimeters. So that's what you had for, it's written neatly for 4a. And for 4b, you just compare 140 centimeters is similar to 1.42 meters. and you make a valid comment, it should support the use of linear model as the values are close together. And you can see here when you plot a graph that these 2 points, you can put a line and you get almost a straight line graph. Question number 5. A curve has equation. Find in its simplest form dy over dx. So to find differentiation, we're using this formula there on the right hand side. When you differentiate, you subtract 1 from the power, you multiply by the power and subtract 1 from the power. Multiply by the power, subtract 1 from the power. So got 3x squared, so we multiply by 2. So with 2 times 3, which will give you 6, and subtract 1 from 2, which will give you 2 minus 1 gives you 1, so 6x. If we take x to the top, it becomes x to the minus 1. So you multiply by minus 1, it gives you minus 24. You subtract 1, it becomes minus 2. So it's minus 24 over x squared. And when you differentiate 2, you get 0. So your answer for dy over dx is 6x minus 24 over x squared. Hence, find the exact range of values of x for which the curve is increasing for part B. When it is increasing, dy over dx is greater than 0. The gradient is greater than 0. That means it's going up, increasing. So we would take, hence means we use the answer from before. That's what hence means. Don't use another method, use the answer from before. So that differential, dy over dx, will put it greater than 0. We need to solve it. So we can multiply by x squared. Multiply by x squared, multiply by x squared, multiply by x squared. So that'll give us 6x cubed minus 24 is greater than 0. Because this x squared here would cancel. And x times x squared will give you x cubed. And x squared times 0 will give you 0. So we take 24 to the right hand side, it becomes positive 24. So 6x cubed is greater than 24. You divide by 6. 24 divided by 6 is 4. X cubed is greater than 4. And we find the cube root of 4. So x is greater than the cube root of 4, or 4 to the power 1 over 3. And if you plot it on your calculator, you will see that point there. That is the point 4 to the 1 over 3, which is 1.58 something. And you can see from there it is increasing. So dy over dx is greater than 0. So from this point, it is going but up. So that means dy over dx is greater than 0. So that's the increasing. So it's increasing from here. That's why, so we say x is greater than, from there going up. So these are graphs which shows you the information. And you use this for V window. You go from minus 10 for x up to 10. And for y, you go from minus 100 to 100. So you can see everything clearly. And that was where you have 4 to the 1 over 3 is 1.58. So that's it there. 4 to the 1 over 3 is 1.58, which is that point there. And that's the point which is increasing. If you plot the original function plus the differential function, which is in red, you can see from that point there, it is only increasing. That shows it to you that the differential function is increasing. That's a visual way to look at what you have done to check your answer is correct. Question number 6. Figure 1 shows a sketch of a triangle ABC with AB is 3x, AC is 2x, and the angle CAB is 60. Show that x is equal to 2 root 3. We want to use this formula of circles for area of a triangle, half AB sine C. A is one of the sides, B is the other side, and C is the angle in between. Remember that A is one of the sides, B is the other side, and C is the angle between them. So you put that in the formula, and so the area is 18 root 3, A is 2x, B is 3x, and sine of C is sine 60. And when you, sine 60 is root 3 over 2. So you would multiply You take the half to the right, that means you times 18 by 2, it becomes 36 root 3 is equals to 3 root 3 times x squared. 6 divided by 2, it gives you 3. Now you divide by 3 root 3 to get x squared. So take 3 root 3 to the left. So 36 root 3 divided by 3 root 3. The 3 root 3 will cancel. So you're left with 12. And x is the square root of 12, which is 2 root 3. QED. It means quod erat demonstratum, as required to show. Because they wanted us to show that, and when you finish showing that, you write QED. It means you have shown it. Question 6b says, hence find the exact length of BC, giving your answer as a simplified set. Hence means you use your answer from before. And we're going to use this formula I've put there. It's the cosine rule. A squared is equal to B squared plus C squared minus 2BC cos A. So what we want is, you got CB, find the length of BC. We got CB, we'll call it BC. So BC squared, I've colored it in pink, is equals to, how do we get to CA or AC? It's 2x. So 2 times x is 2 root 3. 2 times 2 root 3, because we found x before. X is 2 root 3 from part A. So 2 times 2 root 3 will give us 4 root 3. And for 3x, it will be 3 times 2 root 3. That will give us 6 root 3. So we know, so that means BC squared, the BC squared is equals to 6 root 3 squared plus 4 root 3 squared minus 2 times 6 root 3 times 4 root 3 cos 16. Put all of that in your calculator. Be courageous and put all of it at once. It will work. Make sure you put the brackets, put it all at once in your calculator. Take your time, and you will get 84. And then after you find square root of it, it will give you 2 root 21. Or you can even find square root at the same time. It does work when you do it all at once. So get BC to be 2 square root of 21 centimeters. Question number 7. The curve C has equation y equals to k squared over x plus 1. Sketch C stating the equation of the horizontal asymptote. So this is the curve. We can just choose k to be any number. If you want to try it on your calculator, you can say k to be 2. So 2 squared will be 4. So you can put in your graphics calculator y equals to 4 over x plus 1. And you will get this general shape. So that means you would see that this plus 1 is like sketching the graph of y equals to 4 over x. Plus 1 means the y move 1 up. So it was in 0, 0, it shift 1 up. So the asymptote is now y is equals to 1, this point there. And that's the general shape of the graph. Everything has moved up by 1. The line L has equation y equals to minus 2x plus 5. Show that the x coordinate of any point of intersection of L with C is given by the solution of the equation. So we want to combine equations. K squared over x plus 1 is the curve, and minus 2x plus 5 is a line. So the curve and the line, we make them equal. The curve equals to the line. So to get rid of the x in the denominator, we times this by x, times this by x, times this by x, times this by x. So that will give us k squared plus 1x is equals to minus 2x squared plus 5x. And we take minus 2x squared to the left, take 5x to the left. Minus 2x squared goes to the left, it becomes plus 2x squared. Plus 5x goes to the left, it becomes minus 5x. And we have the plus 1x, we have the plus k squared equals to 0. We collect like terms. Minus 5x plus 1x is minus 4x. So you end up with 2x squared minus 4x plus k squared equals to 0. QED as required to show. For part C, it says, hence find the exact values of K for which L is a tangent to C. When it says a tangent, it means it touches it at one point, so there's one value. So B squared minus 4AC is equals to 0. So our A is 2, our B is minus 4, our C is K squared. Watch that again. A is 2, B is minus 4, C is K squared. We put that neatly. Minus 4 squared for B squared, minus 4 times 2 for A, times K squared. Simplify that gives you 16 minus 8K squared equals to 0. Minus 8K squared goes to the right, it becomes 8K squared. So 8K squared equals to 16. K squared is 16 over 8, and K is square root of that, which is plus or minus square root of 2. And if you were to plot it on a graph for question 7a to see what it looks like, let's say you had taken K squared to be 2 squared, for example, 4, so that you get a general idea. That's what the graph would look like. And you would know that asymptote would be down there. So it's just an idea for you to check the graphs using the calculator. And you will put X, the view window X to be minus 10. So you start from minus 10 up to plus 10. And it goes from minus 10 there up to plus 10 at the top. So you can use the standard in the calculator to get that shape, to get an idea what the graph would look like. Question number 8. Find the first 3 terms in ascending powers of x of the binomial expansion of that 2 plus 3x over 4 to the power 6, given each term in its simplest form. For binomial expansion, we need to use this formula there. A plus B to the power n is a to the n combination 1, a to the n minus 1b, and so on. And you can use this to work out the coefficients, or you can use your calculator. So 2 plus 3x over 4 to the power 6. So the 2 represents the a. Very important. You watch this carefully. The a is the 2, and your b is 3x over 4, and your n is 6. Once you know what a, b, and n are, you use the formula. So 6 combination 0, 2 to the power 6, which is a to the power n, 2 to the power 6, 3 over 4x to the power 0. And then after that, 6 combination 1, 2 to the power 6 minus 1 is 5, and 3 over 4x to the power 1. After that, 6 combination 2, 2 to the power 6 minus 2 is 4, and 3 over x, or 3x over 4 squared. And you will use your calculator to work out these values. 2 to the power 6, 2 to the power 6 will give you 64. And then the second one, 6 combination 1 is 6. 2 to the power times 2 to the power 5 times 3 over 4 will give you 144x. And 6 combination 2 is 15 times 2 to the power 4 times 3 over 4 squared gives you 135x squared. For number 8b, explain how you could use your expansion to estimate the value of 1.925 to the power 6. You do not need to perform the calculation. So what you want to do is you want to write 2 plus 3x over 4 to the power 6 is equals to 1.925 to the power 6, and we want to solve for x. What you're going to substitute in. If you notice, the power 6 is the same on both sides. So we can take that out. So what is in bracket 2 plus 3x over 4 should be equals to 1.925. We solve it for x. If we take 2 to the right side, it becomes minus 2. So 1.925 minus 2, it gives us minus 0.075. Is equals to 3 over 4x. Now it's times 3 over 4x. We take it to the other side, to the right, it becomes divided by 3 over 4x. So x would be minus 0.1. So you solve for x and then substitute this value into the expression from A. So if we were to perform the calculation, x is minus 0.1. So wherever we see x, we put minus 0.1, minus 0.1, minus 0.1. And that's why they say explain. We just explain that we will substitute x to be minus 0.1 and then we solve it, but they say we shouldn't do the calculation. Question number 9. A company started mining tin in Riverdale on 1st January 2019. Calculate part A. Calculate the mass of tin that will be mined up to 1st January 2020. So to calculate that, you start from 2019, 1st of January, New Year's Day, up to New Year's Day 2020. The difference is 1 year. 2020 minus 2019 is 1 year. So that means n is equals to 1. So we write that expression and we put n is 1. So 1,200 minus 3 bracket 1 minus 20, n is 1. Put that in your calculator. It gives us T to be 117 tons. That's what they would extract. Question 9b. Deduce the maximum total mass of tin that could be mined. Because we are minusing this from 1,200, we can never go above 1,200. Remember that we can never go above 1,200 because we are minusing that from it. We are not adding. So what happens is that to get 1,200, all of these would have to be 0. So that when we minus 0, it stays 1,200. So the maximum total mass of tin that could be mined is when all of this is 0. So it would be 1,200. Calculate the mass, part C. Calculate the mass of tin that will be mined in 2023. We can find what is being mined in 2023 that year. So we can find up to 2023. So we can find it for n equals to 5. So if we put n equals to 5, it would give us 1,200 minus 3 bracket 5 minus 20. It gives us 525. If we put n equals to 4, we will get 432. And when we subtract it, we will get 93 tons. Now you ask, why did we put 5 and why did we put 4? We started in 2019 and we want it for 2024. So if we get the total up to 2024, at the end of 2024, which is 5 years, and we minus what we had for the first 4 years, that will give us what we had for the 5th year. So everything for the 5 years minus what we did for the 4 years will give us what we want for that 5th year. That's how you think about it. Part D, 9D, state giving reasons the limitation on the values of n. The model is only valid for values of n such that n is less than or equals to 20. The total amount mined cannot decrease. We cannot have numbers. The total amount mined cannot decrease. So that's one of the things which you can write. And you can represent it on a graph. If you put that curve, y equals to 1,200 minus 3 bracket n minus 20 squared, you will get this shape, parabola shape. And you can use the minimum to be minus 20, maximum to be 50 for x. So minus 20 up to 50. And you go from minus 500 for the y up to 2,000 so that you can see it clearly. And you can see that the maximum value is 1,200. You can enter x value to find y value. So the maximum is 1,200 and when x is 20. That shows you visually what it is you were doing.